Hi everyone, welcome to beginner brayering lesson number 2. I have a loan card for you today. This is a fun project that I'm going to show you, and it includes putting in a yellow and blue combination sky, which is a bit tricky, and also water and masking foreground. It's a great card. Got some highlighting in there, and I'm going to show you also how to put that sparkle in the water with a white gel pen. So let's get started. First we are going to need a few colors. These are all classic inks from Stampin' Up. We have Island Indigo, Basic Black, So Saffron, Chocolate Chip, and Marina Mist. We're going to start with Marina Mist first. And we're going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's cut 3 1/4 by 7 1/2. I have my brayer. I'm going to roll one direction here on my pad, and I'm going to start by putting in the sky, the top of the sky anyway, with our Marina Mist. And what I want to do is I want to have 1/4 of the cardstock at the top have Marina Mist on it. See, I'm always starting off that cardstock, very important so you don't get those lines that nobody wants. Building that color up. Okay, there's the top of my sky. I'm going to turn my cardstock around and start putting in the water. It's nice when your water is the same color as your sky. You just repeat the colors. The water, I want it to go half the cardstock. Remember, light pressure on that brayer. Make sure you're getting your speed up also. What we're trying to achieve here is have a section here that has no color. That's where our yellow and our sky will go. Building this up here. There we go. Next we're going to go to Island Indigo. And I'm going to do half of our Marina Mist areas. So at the bottom here, you can slow down with these darker colors. You sure don't want to wipe out your Marina Mist you just put on. And I'm only putting about 1 inch of ink on my brayer also, because we don't need a whole lot of color on there, just to get the very bottom. There we go. I'm going to flip the cardstock around. I just want it at the very top of the cardstock. This is our sky. Put a little in there so we just have some variation. Okay, I'm rolling my brayer off really good here because we're switching color families. We are going to go to So Saffron ink. I'm going to mask this first. So what I'm going to mask is my water area. So I'm going to put a mask on here, and if you line your Post-it note up with the side of your cardstock, it's going to be straight going this way. We want a nice straight line going across there. Then I'm going to finish off masking the bottom of the water here. I need to flip my paper over. I have a new piece. So we don't want to transfer that blue onto our yellow sky here. So Saffron ink, and we're going to act like this Post-it note is the bottom of our cardstock. That's where we're going to start our brayer. We're going to start it on the Post-it note and going on to the cardstock. You're going to have to give a little bit more pressure here because you have different levels because you have a Post-it note on there. So, and don't worry about, you'll have a white line right next to your Post-it note. Don't worry about that at this point. That'll be covered up by our ground. So we're going to build some yellow up in the bottom of our sky. Now you don't want to go into that blue. The reason we're having this yellow come up from the bottom and not just start with yellow to begin with and then put the blue over it, because yellow and blue make green. And if you put blue over yellow, you'll have a nice green sky, which nobody wants because it looks like tornado weather. There we go. So there's our yellow. So that was so saffron. I'm going to take these Post-it notes off. I'm going to use one of these Post-it notes and I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to mask that yellow. All but about 1/8 of an inch. When 1/8 of an inch of that yellow showing below the Post-it note. And then I'm going to take a new Post-it note. This is the sticky edge here. And I'm going to just rip a fine edge off that. I want a little jagged edge. And I don't want to rip all that sticky off, so I'm just doing a real fine piece off there. I'm going to have that about 1 inch. I'm not measuring this, I'm just guesstimating. Inch or so below our other Post-it note. I'm going to take chocolate chip ink now, and we're going to fill in for our ground. This is our ground that we have right here that's not masked. And I'm going to do a circular motion in here and fill this in. Now we want this chocolate chip to look like milk chocolate, not dark chocolate. So you don't want to get it so dark that it almost looks black, because we've got some shading to put in here and we don't want to lose that by having our chocolate chip too dark. So I filled that in, our ground, and we want to a little darkness down here at the bottom of our ground, so we're going to put in basic black. And this time I'm going to use a little back and forth motion here, putting a little bit of this basic black along that jagged edge. And that was quick. There we go. Now when you remove these Post-it notes, you have your ground in. And we're going to use our Serene Silhouette set. I'm going to use the tree out of it. And I don't want this grassy portion in my scene, so I'm going to flip my stamp over here and I'm going to ink this just down to where the grass is. I like to do it this way anyway, just so I can make sure I have everything all good and inked up, because I want a nice dark image here. And I'm going to stamp this using that 5 count rule so I get a nice crisp image. I'm not rocking or anything, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pick it straight up. Here's my trees. Now I want my tree trunks to be a bit longer. So I got a basic black marker here and I'm just going to pull them down quickly. And there's my trees. Now I need a little shadow in here underneath my trees. I'm going to use one of my Post-it notes that I used earlier. I'm going to flip this cardstock upside down. Makes it a little easier to do this. I'm going to line my Post-it note up against one side. And I'm going to have a little bit of those trees trunks showing below my Post-it note so I know where my trees are. I'm going to put a shadow in, and you don't want your shadow larger than your image. So I'm going to do this. This is a back and forth motion. Just a little bit of a shadow here. Okay, very quick. Here's our shadow. Now we got that in. Now we just need some sparkle in our water. Let's zoom this in a bit so you can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to put some sparkle in our water using a white gel pen. And this is a very light touch that you're going to use. And this is a back and forth motion. I'm barely touching down in places. You can go back over this as many times as you want. But this is how I start. Now I'm barely touching down so I get different length lines. I try not to do any downward motions. And there's our sparkle. I'm going to add a little bit of color to our tree here. And this is an old olive marker. I'm just going to tap in some color right on the outside edge of this tree. All along the top here and down the left side. It gives us a little light effect. Little color. I also want to put a few highlights in here. A few dots. Light your tree up a little bit. I'm doing this quickly. If you get too symmetrical with your dots, they look a little strange. So if you do it quick, then it works out really well. Hope you all can see that. And that is our main image panel. Fairly quick. These cards do go quick after you get your brayer speed up. Now, here's our finished project. I've layered it with a chocolate chip panel. That's 3 3/4 by 8.5, and then the card base, which is Marina Mist, and it's 8 by 9 folded in half. So I layered my main image panel on the chocolate chip panel. I've added 4 brads on the main image panel. Then I've attached it to the Marina Mist panel. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you've learned how to put water and sky together. See you next time.